मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Everybody able to hear me properly? Okay. So good morning and good evening. Sarvebhyo namaskaraha. So we are continuing the classes. For those who are new, a couple of people are new. Classes on Tattvabodha, learning Vedanta through Tattvabodha. And we are just going through an introduction to what might be Vedanta. What is Vedanta? So last class we started the topic of Purushartha. Purushartha, the goals of a human being. So there we studied Artha and Kama first. Artha being security, being a common desire of every human being. Security and Kama, pleasure. We also said Artha and Kama are common to both animals and human beings. Even an animal has a desire for Kama. On a hot day, the cow will go and stand under a tree because it doesn't want to get fried in the hot sun. So basic Kama is there for the animal also. And then we said Artha and Kama are desired or sought after, but within the framework of Dharma. Dharma is a framework which animals do not have, but human beings are very attuned to Dharma. Even if I do not follow Dharma, I know that I do not follow Dharma. If I deceive, I know that I deceive. So I cannot, no human being can claim ignorance to Dharma, to right and wrong. So Dharma, Artha, Kama, we studied last time. So today we want to understand a little bit about the fourth Purushartha, which is moksha. Moksha is stated last in this list. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. We said last time that even though Artha and Kama we studied first, Dharma being predominant for a human being, Dharma is often listed first. Dharma, Artha, Kama, like that comes. And Moksha is listed last. And even though it is last, for a human being, it is one of the most important. And its importance becomes more and more obvious as our appreciation of moksha also increases. Until then, it may not be clear that a human being is seeking something called moksha. In fact, that is why moksha is listed last. So, moksha is something one seeks, like artha and kama, but its definition is given in a negative manner. Negative means freedom from. So, this moksha comes from a Sanskrit dhatu called much. Much means to be free from. To be free from. So, free from, if somebody says, you will immediately ask, free from what? Person is in jail and he seeks freedom. You ask him, freedom from what? Freedom from being confined in these four walls. That is his idea of freedom. Anything but these four walls. Get me out of here. So that is freedom from for that person who is in the jail. Then there is a person who has fractured his leg and he is on crutches. He is walking quite fine with the crutches. But you ask him, how do you like the crutches? He will say, most likely, the crutches are fine, but I want to be free from those crutches. He doesn't fall in love with the crutches. Now, the lightweight aluminum crutches, imported crutches. Still, the fellow says, I don't want to use crutches. He doesn't fall in love with the crutches. However much he loves, he will say, I will keep it for somebody else, not for me. So freedom, he also wants freedom. The child is learning to stand up. The child is learning to walk. It takes one step, it falls down, it cries. After a while, it stands up again, tries to walk. Now, this time, three steps, and it falls down and it gets hurt. But it doesn't seem to get scared of falling down. I mean, it is scared, of course, but it doesn't give up. It doesn't give up its pursuit of wanting to stand up and walk. So it appears that even this child wants freedom from something. It is seeking, I suppose, to be free. To be free from simply lying down and watching the roof. Even this child doesn't like that. Even though it cannot express that clearly in any form. It says somehow there is some desire for this child to just get out of here and let me run around. And it runs around, and after a while it doesn't want to stay at home also. These people are bothering me all the time. I want to be out of here. And it makes the mother and father run around. So freedom from all these examples we are saying to show there is a desire to be free from something. And last time we said the human being is seeking artha and the human being is seeking kama. Can the human being ever say, can the human being ever say, I have gained all the security I have. I have accomplished everything. I have all the name and fame I needed. I have all the things I want to be completely secure. I think we all will agree that such a situation doesn't arise. Even the most, even the president of America, if at all you can say somebody who wants to be the most famous and most important person in this world, if we can say that, cannot say such a statement. The other day I was telling in the Sanskrit class, this this guy in the late 80s, I used to remember, he started becoming very rich. Donald Trump. So today we know him as the President of America, of course. But he became very famous in the 80s. He was buying and selling real estate. He was buying and selling hotels, not just any kind of real estate, not just some small hotels, all multi-storied hotels, not in any average city, in Las Vegas. And he became so rich, wealthy. I remember reading an article where the journalist asked him, Mr. Trump, you have everything you want. You have all the wealth you want. You must be the happiest person. There's nothing else for you to accomplish. And he says, I have everything except the time to enjoy what I have. I don't have the time to enjoy what I have. So even this fellow has to, I suppose, has to find a way to enjoy. So even he can't say that I have everything. He's still looking for time, I suppose. And we don't know whether now he has time to enjoy what he has. At least he seems to say whatever he wants. So that much freedom he seems to have. So nobody can ever say, I am completely secure. Nobody can ever say, I am completely pleased with myself. And so, moksha is now defined as freedom from being insecure. Freedom from being insecure. Because I know I am seeking security, to be free from being insecure. We are now saying freedom from being insecure and freedom from being displeased, because we saw kama as another purushartha. So freedom from being insecure and freedom from being displeased is a definition, a reasonable definition for moksha. I don't know how that will happen, but that is a definition of moksha at this point. And here Swamiji will say, he will extend the definition of moksha to be freedom from seeking itself. Freedom from seeking itself. So, suppose I say this, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, and Bill Gates. Okay, those of you who may not know or heard of Bill Gates, is Bill Gates was the founder of a company called Microsoft, which is the software that runs on all our personal computers, all our laptops. Let's leave Apple aside for a while. So this guy, so he's the wealthiest man in the world, whatever you can say, something like that. He controls all the machines that control us, which means he indirectly controls us. So these three people, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, and Bill Gates, they end up in heaven, and they are standing in front of God, who is sitting on the chair. And God says, it's very nice to see all of you. At the same time also, and so he says, God asks, hey, Barack, what do you believe in? What do you believe in? And Obama says, God, I believe that all people should be given equal opportunities regardless of the color of their skin. All people should be treated equally regardless of the color of their skin. And God listens to that and he says, Barack, I'm so proud of you. This is the kind of world we need. Come, sit next to me, to my right. Then God looks at Donald Trump and asks the question, Donald, what do you believe in? And Trump says, God, I believe that all people should be free to say whatever they want. All people should be free to write on social media whatever they want. That is the kind of world I would like. God looks at Trump and says, Donald, amazing, stunning. You are a great thinker. Come sit next to me on my left hand side. Then he looks at Bill Gates. God looks at Bill Gates and says, Bill, what do you believe in? And Bill Gates, the great Bill Gates, looks at God and says, God, I believe that you are sitting in my chair.
Echo. There's a lot of echo.
I believe that you are sitting in my chair. So now here is the question. Let's say some of you laughed. This is a joke, obviously. And I saw many of you were smiling and so forth. So during the 60 seconds or 2 minutes, if you were smiling, let's say you were happy, if I ask you, what desire did you fulfill that made you happy? What desire was fulfilled? We all have a list of problems, list of challenges. Which of those problems were solved that made you happy during the last 60 seconds, during the last 2 minutes? Most likely the answer is my list of problems remains the same. Today is Monday morning, that too. Some of us have to go to work, in India at least. And they say Monday morning is the most stressful day for many people. And I also heard that among the people who work, the maximum number of heart attacks occur on Monday morning. I don't know if it is true today or not, but that is what I've heard. And on a Monday morning, if I can be happy for 60 seconds without satisfying any desire, what does it tell me? What does it tell me? It tells me that it gives me a clue. It gives me a very important clue. And the clue is that in order for me to be happy, in order for me to be pleased with myself and with the rest of the world, I really do not have to satisfy any desire. Leave alone all my so-called laundry list of desires. This laundry list is I think, typical American usage. And so whatever big list of desires, I don't need to satisfy any one of those desires in order to be happy. That is the clue I get. And so, this so-called moksha, I can begin to see that there is a possibility of being acceptable to myself. And there is a possibility of seeing that satisfying desires, I don't need to connect my well-being to the fulfillment of all my desires. And so this is how it goes. And so now the the our shift in thinking is that for me the security and happiness comes from outside, from things I acquire, from the people I relate to. They are the ones who make me happy. My spouse, my husband, my wife, my children, my parents, they are the most important people in my life, and they make me happy. And if I am happy, then in turn they are also happy. It is also mutual. The things I possess, they make me happy. That has been my thinking all along. And now what we are saying is, perhaps this acceptance that I am seeking is not from outside. It is, some people say, inside. So we are loosely using the word outside and inside. Inside being inside myself. This self that I am still trying to discover now. So this is a huge step. Perhaps I am already secure. Perhaps the security that I am seeking is based on a mistaken assumption that I am insecure. I have to somehow make myself secure. So this is where many religions enter the picture, enter into the life of this human being, and they make a lot of promises. Look at that. There is a religion that says, yes, you are insecure. Yes, you are displeased with yourself. In fact, One religion says you are a sinner, you are a papi, you you are condemned, and you have to make it, and you will make it if you follow me, if you follow one particular God. And so I follow that God, and something is supposed to happen, and that God is supposed to make me free. This is one ideology. Now look at our dharma. Our dharma says you are fundamentally secure. The human being is fundamentally happy. The nature of the being is ananda. The nature of the being is happiness. And the search for happiness, so-called happiness, is based on a mistaken assumption, is based on a mistaken conclusion. So now look at that view. That view is so opposed to some of the other more popular views about the human being. So this is the kind of shift we are told by the Shastra, Vedanta Shastram. And so now, if that becomes our pursuit, or that becomes our idea of ourselves, then we can ask many questions. Tell me more. What do you mean by that? So that is the kind of journey we are in right now. So continuing that line of thinking, I have constantly been saying that I lack this and I lack that. The human being always seems to lack something or the other. And the Shastram says that it is not that I lack any particular thing, and that particular thing seems to vary with time. The college student is lacking something. I lack, as a college student, I lack the ability to study better. I want to study better. Or I lack, okay, I study better. Then the person grows up. I lack a job. So now I find a job. Then I lack a better position. I find a better position. Then I lack another promotion. I lack an understanding manager. Then I find an understanding manager. I find a good employer. Like this, I lack many things. I achieve many things. So the Shastram says that this journey of trying to acquire what I lack is a journey that is never going to be complete. There is always a time that I will lack something or the other. We saw that before. And so the Shastram gives the example of the fire. Example of fire. The fire consumes whatever comes in its way. The fire never says enough. The fire never says, I have consumed this house. I am happy. No fire says that. It says, I am want to go to the next house. If you give me the next house, I will consume that also. And so The name for fire in Sanskritam is very interesting. Fire in this context is called, there are some 30-40 names in Sanskrit for fire depending on the context. But here the name of fire is Analaha. In Tamil they will say Anal. And I am sure in other languages also there is something similar. Anal. Al or Al means enough. Anal means not enough. Al means enough. Alam. When I say alam, suppose you are serving me food and I say alam, alam means enough. That's a popular usage in Sanskrit. So opposite of alam is analam. And that happens to be the name of Agni also. Analam. The one who does not say enough is fire. So the human being's desire, the human being's search is compared to this anal, to this fire. And so the human being that is asking the question, how am I going to be satisfied, has to recognize that my search, by all the means I know to accomplish and to make myself acceptable to myself, none of that is going to make me completely free. Free from whatever I want to be free from. Free from insecurity and being displeased. Anartha and akama, you can say that. So we need to, especially for those who are new to this topic of Vedanta, some of you already have studied under Swami Paramarthananda ji and others. So for them this is not new. But for others, we need to dwell on this a little bit more. On why when I seek something, I don't become fully secure. Even after so many years, after 40, 50, 60 and 70 years of working and of accomplishing things, gaining name and fame, of having a happy family, still why nobody can say that I am completely satisfied. I have accomplished whatever needs to be accomplished in human life. Why nobody can say that? Because what I have achieved, you take any object that I achieve, that I have, that I possess, that I want to possess and then possess. That object, whether it is a cell phone. So here is a cell phone. I love this cell phone. And it is an iPhone also. And they say iPhones are some of you look at Google and you look at Amazon and look at the price of these cell phones. My God, these iPhones are costing 10 times more than every other phone. And I suppose these phones are serving well also. And this phone, suppose I say, makes me happy. We say that every object is finite. A finite object cannot be a source of security. It is jadam. In fact, we use the word jadam in Tamil. And in Sanskrit also, jadam means inert. And how can an inert object make a human being secure? Not possible. It can offer me some comforts. It can offer me a lot of elbow room. Any object or any person also can offer me some solace, temporary relief. But no object, either a living being or a jadam, an inanimate object, can can offer what I call security. Not possible. And and so sometimes we see people, I'm not happy with the things I have. So the guy calls up his friend and says, hey, baar jayenge. And the friend says, see, अरे अभी कहाँ बाहर जाओगे? It is dark, it is night. Bahar in Hindi means outside. Let's go out. The, अभी कहाँ बाहर जाओगे? And this guy says, अरे बाहर नहीं, बार जाएंगे, बार BAR जाएंगे. So बार जाएंगे because now he doesn't get any happiness from the things he has. So he thinks by going to the bar, he can get some happiness. So look at that. And in America, they have something in the bar. It is called happy hour. It's called happy hour. How many of you know of the happy hour? Yeah, happy hour. And let me explain for those. Most people, I suppose, they go to the bar in the night, in the evenings, and after work, whatever, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, who knows. So the bars are all empty at 3 p.m. At 4 p.m., who goes to the bar? Nobody goes to the bar. So they will advertise all drinks at half price, 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So in order to attract people during that hour, just 1 hour, this sale lasts only 1 hour. After 5 p.m., if you go, it is the sale ends. So that hour is called happy hour. And it is such a enticing thing. I am looking for happiness, and this fellow has advertised happy hour. Can there be a better combination? There is demand and there is supply. But perhaps that is the saddest hour in the life of this person. And so the story goes. Happiness is not to be found even in this bar at half price. And so we are beginning to appreciate that no object out there is going to make me completely secure. Even the job I love is a job I love. Thanks to my stars, they say, let it last for as long as it can. But I can never say that this job will make me secure. If I say the job makes me secure, then in a matter of time, that same job can be a source of insecurity also. So the same analysis about security can be done with karma also. Can any of us say that if I go to a particular place, I can always be happy? Vacation. I think if you analyze the way people take vacations, so those days as a child we used to go to our village. Summer vacation was spent in our village. 1 month, 1.5 months, and there is no electricity in the village, and we will be sweating all day. But we used to love, because we used to be on the streets all day. And that used to be our idea of vacation. And all of us remember those kinds of days. But today my idea of vacation is different. I plan in advance. I book all the hotel rooms, rooms of our choice, hotels of our choice, the place of our choice. Do you want to go to a cold place? Do you want to ski? Summertime, where can you ski? If you want to ski, you may have to choose little winter, I suppose. Or do you want to go to Niagara Falls? Or these days, of course, there's always cruises. 50 years back there was no cruise vacation, but now I can take a cruise vacation. I can cruise from the border, from the shores, maybe from Chennai or from Kanyakumari to Sri Lanka and to some other islands. Maybe I can go to Andamans for a week. Who knows? I've not looked into that vacation yet. But I did take a cruise to Alaska. So I have some memories of that cruise. So, sophisticated vacation. Can anybody say, if I go to a particular place, I will be happy? If anybody can say that, then all of us will rush to that place. And so far, we have not found any place like that. So even for karma, we can we can we can appreciate it. That no thing gives me lasting pleasure. No place gives me lasting pleasure. No person gives me lasting pleasure. I may be happy with my spouse, with my wife, with my husband, and I give up my life for my children and my family. But if that same person makes me unhappy, my life partner, I am willing to separate from that person. So we can see that there is no person that can claim to make us completely happy. So that is our experience. And we are basically analyzing that experience. So if we analyze this, and if we are saying there has to be a solution to this fundamental human search, if I have that conviction that, this human being, I am a conscious human being, and I am searching for this, and there has to be a fundamental solution, and that solution can only be that I must be fundamentally secure. I must be fundamentally happy. That is the discovery that the Shastram wants us to make. And thankfully our Shastram says, yes, your nature, the nature of the human being, my nature is Ananda, the nature of the human being. Your true nature is Ananda. Your true nature is fullness. Thankfully, there is at least one Shastram in this world that says this, which comes like a breath of fresh air. So then the question becomes, if my nature is Ananda, then I can ask, what do you mean by that? Tell me more. If my nature is Ananda, why am I unhappy? If the fire is hot, it never becomes cold. If heat is its nature, no fire is cold to touch. Fire is always hot to touch. So if you are telling me my nature is Ananda, then how come I am sad? How come I can be depressed? How can I can be how come I can be frustrated? All these questions will arise. And that is why we have the Shastra to explain to us and to teach us what this whole pursuit is. And the Shastram says that when it says you are Ananda, it doesn't say you must believe. You must believe that you are the source of happiness. It says it is a fact that you are Ananda, and that fact has to be understood. So understand this very clearly. It doesn't say you must develop a new attitude towards yourself. It doesn't say you must now have a new belief. The new belief is that I am complete. The new belief is that I am acceptable to myself. And I must now condition myself to this new thinking. That is not what the Shastram says. Because then that becomes another belief. But the Shastram says there is a fact about yourself, a fact that is not yet understood. And that misunderstood notion, if I can say notion now, something that is understood mistakenly, something that is not understood for what it is, can be called a notion. So it is that notion that makes me go round and round. And so now the Shastram says that the pursuit is one of gaining knowledge of oneself. Gaining the knowledge of oneself. And that is why you hear these words. It's called Atma Vidya, Tattvabodha, Brahma Vidya. All these words you hear. And it is called Vidya. It is called Bodha. It is called Jnanam. Jnanam means knowledge. And we will analyze more about this difference between what is the belief and what is knowledge. As we go further in this inquiry. So, two types of problems. One type of problem is the solution lies outside. I am hungry. The solution is outside. Outside me. I have to find food. I have to cook. I have to consume. And I am satisfied. One type of problem. I am cold. I feel cold. I have to go get a blanket, get a jacket, and cover myself. And I am satisfied. One type of problem. Solution is outside. Another type of problem. Solution is not outside. Solution loosely called inside. Solution is within me. Like a jigsaw puzzle, if we can give an example. Again, loosely, jigsaw puzzle. The puzzle is there in front of me. 50-piece puzzle, 100-piece puzzle. Some people love this 1,000-piece puzzle. 1,000-piece. I used to do 1,000-piece puzzles, but it used to take days and days. If at all we could even solve those puzzles, and it is there on the floor. It is there for days. And so there, the solution is within the puzzle. And so like that, the second type of problem is where the solution is there within the problem, so to speak. So that is why we have heard sometimes this common statement, or perhaps they have picked up a book And the book says, the problem is you, the solution is you. So when they say that, what does it mean? It means this that we have just discussed, that the solution is not to be found outside. The solution to this fundamental search of the human being is to be found by inquiring into oneself. That is the meaning of the solution is you. The solution is within you. So we are slowly going in this journey where we are saying the solution is to be found within us. And using a slightly different language, we can say from self non-acceptance. When I seek something, I'm essentially saying I don't accept myself as I am. And so I seek something so I can be acceptable to myself. And so from self non-acceptance, we are seeking self-acceptance. Even that is a bold statement, but that is the journey that we are after. And that journey is the journey towards moksha. Moksha means I am acceptable to myself as I am, without changing anything in this world, without changing anything in this body, mind, sense complex, with all the problems I have, with all the so-called challenges I'm facing, I am acceptable to myself. This is what the Shastra says. And so this becomes an area of deep interest for any human being. Why it should not be? Because every human being is seeking this. And so the question was there last time, it was asked, why is moksha listed as the fourth purushartha? It is a fourth purushartha because I don't appreciate moksha yet. I don't know that there is something called moksha. But living in the Indian society, being part of the Indian culture, that moksha is there. I have heard. I may be playful, but I've heard moksha. I've heard songs, classical music, especially Hindustani or Carnatic, if you have heard. There are songs which talk about, they will say Brahma Mokkate, Para Brahma Mokkate. Brahma Mokkate. They will say, I don't know anything about Brahman. I only heard Brahman. And they say Brahma Mokkate. So that Brahman is related to this moksha, and it is related to this Atma. And so this Hindu Dharma provides us that framework to appreciate what this moksha is. And here we make it very clear. We make it very clear that this moksha is not salvation. If you look at some of the English books, they will translate moksha as salvation. But it must be very clear to us. First, in order to say moksha is salvation, we must understand what salvation is. Salvation is an English word which applies to a particular idea of release. And in fact, if you look at salvation, It is a noun form of the verb salvage. Salvage means what? There is something wrong with me. There is fundamentally something wrong with me, and I must salvage myself. I must salvage myself. There is this car which is all broken, and these people come and salvage the car, take some of the good parts of the car and reuse it. That is my idea of salvage. And so likewise, this human being also, one religion says I am condemned, and the only way to salvage myself is to follow one particular God, and that God will protect me and I will go to heaven, and therefore that process is called salvation. After death, I gain salvation. That is one view, a popular view. Even Hindu Dharma has all views in it. But that is not moksha. Because salvation implies I must be condemned. I am a sinner. Only a sinner needs to be salvaged. But here the Dharma says, I am not a sinner. I am already free, it says. Krishna, in fact, addresses Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita in one of the verses in the chapter 3, I remember very well. Pura prokta maya naga, he says. Krishna addresses Arjuna using so many words, Dhananjaya, etc. But one word he uses is called anagha. Agha means sinner. Agha means born of sin. Anagha means one who is free of sin. You tell me, which vision is better? Which vision do you like? You want to be a sinner? Or you want to be pure? You want to be complete? What should be our nature? I will personally choose the world view that I am already free. And I will choose the Shastram which enables me, which teaches me, which takes me through a journey of discovering that free self, discovering that self that is, whose nature is Ananda. So moksha, this is our idea of moksha, which we will explore further in this in the next class also. So I'm going to stop now and and ask if there are any questions. And yeah, Sundarji has a question. 1 minute. So you can ask Sundarji.
Good morning, Guruji. What if everyone in the world attains moksha or goes towards moksha? Wouldn't the world stand still? Once everybody says, okay, I'm going for moksha. This is a question. Because if I'm going for moksha, that means I'm secure. I'm just attaining Atma Nimmadi or whatever that is. But if everybody goes for moksha, everyone, wouldn't the world stand still?
See, really speaking, everybody is after moksha. So you and I cannot decide what the human being is seeking, because our journey is already, we are manufactured in a certain way, and so we are all seeking moksha anyway, according to the Shastra. So that is one answer to your question. The other type of answer is, okay, if everybody becomes as aware as you or me or anybody else, who begins to analyze what this life is all about, then let it be so. Let it be so. What is the meaning of world standing still? What is you have to define what world stand still means. You have to define what you're saying. Let it stand still. People are seeking moksha. Let them seek moksha. Let God wait. It is God's job. It is Ishvara's job to provide moksha to everybody.
What I meant was there won't be any more desire in the world. If there is no any desire in the world, that means there is no production, anything. So that's why I said the world will stand still, kind of.
Yeah. So no production. It's a theoretical question, obviously, but so no production. So we just analyzed Purusharthas. We just analyzed that no object in this world can provide lasting security. So then what production are you talking about? Production of something can give me some comfort. But if it is a question of moksha, nothing is capable of giving me moksha. So let production cease. Our rishis were happy. And they were the ones who were giving us all this knowledge. We have not invented what moksha is. Moksha is an age-old topic. And so let production cease. If it ceases, let it cease. We will see. Tamasha dekhenge. So we don't we don't worry too much about it. When we study, when we go to college, school, and all that, we just study. We go study. Our children study. Our children study. We don't ask the question. What happens is everybody studies in this world. Who will come and clean my? Who will come and clean my bathroom? Okay. We don't ask that question. Life goes on. So everybody should have the benefit of education. Even the person who's cleaning my bathroom, I tell her, hey, how are your children doing? Where are they studying? Earn the money and let them study. They must study. We tell them the same thing. So that is how we take it. Any other question? Yeah. Here there is a question. Ashutosh, 1 second. Okay, so Kritika is asking the question. Can moksha be equated to the word realization? Yeah. So for this, now you have to define what realization is. I'm trying to define what moksha is. We are still beginning to understand what it is. We have not fully understood. And so, in order to say moksha is the same as realization, I must define what realization is. As of now, it is undefined. If I ask, there are 25 people on the screen I see. If I ask each of you to write in a piece of paper, in one line, tell me what realization is. And if we read it all out, there are likely going to be 10 to 15 different ideas of realization. So we have to define what realization is. And so if you have an idea of realization, we need to understand what that is. So in this teaching, one thing I learned is from Swamiji is we try not to introduce new words. If we introduce a new word, it is the responsibility of the teacher to define what that word is so that everybody understands it equally. This is why a subject like mathematics becomes easy to teach, because in number one, everybody understands identically. Addition, everybody understands identically. It is hard to misunderstand addition. It is hard to misunderstand subtraction. I may make mistakes in addition and subtraction, but the concept is understood identically by all people. So this is the trap that we all fall into in this spiritual world. That is why the spiritual world is big business, because of these words. So many words people use, and the person who says continues to throw more and more words, and the people who are listening keep on nodding their heads, and nobody knows what is being conveyed and what is being understood. So this is a very important question. Thanks for asking that question. And it is very crucial in this topic, the use of words, the choice of words is, and the responsibility on the teacher to make sure that what is being conveyed has actually been conveyed, and to make sure that the listener has understood what the teacher wants the listener to understand. It's a big responsibility. So therefore, if you look at the teaching carefully, you won't find too many words. And we will have opportunity to talk about that as we go along. And so we will say moksha. So if I say moksha, you cannot get confused, because you can at best say, Jayakumar ji, please explain what moksha is. But if I say realization, now everybody thinks they have understood what realization is, and everybody will nod their head. But really speaking, nobody has realized what realization is. So we avoid such situations, and that is part of this teaching. So we will continue to discuss that, Kritika. Yeah, Ashutosh, you raised your hand. Yeah.
So my question is a follow-up to what Harprasad ji had asked. Do you think that seeking moksha, or like trying to do moksha is better done by a sannyasi instead of a grihast? Because I mean, I have a kid, so I have to seek out some world. I have to have some materialistic goals, so that me and my wife are provided for, and they are, at least after. And so that's the first part. And the second part is, so does that mean that trying to seek moksha is a very individual goal? You cannot have your family or your friends kind of be on that journey with you. So I think two questions I asked there, but does that make sense?
Yeah. So yeah, 2-3 questions, and yeah. So the first question is, can I seek moksha as a grahastha, as a family member with so many responsibilities? So we don't know that yet, because we still are beginning to understand what moksha is.
Right.
And but then we see in our culture, sannyasis are there, and yes, Krishna does answer that same question that Arjuna asks Krishna. Lokesmin dvida nishtha, Krishna says. There are two lifestyles. One is a life of karma yoga, other is a life of jnana yoga, which is sannyasa. It's a very valid question. And Arjuna does ask Krishna, what life is better for me? And Krishna says, your life of a Kshatriya, your life as a warrior, your life as a family man, your life to protect the people of this continent. That is the best life for you, Krishna says. So thankfully, our Shastram doesn't say you must be X, you must wear this kind of dress in order to seek moksha. Fortunately, it doesn't say that. And we will have an opportunity to cover this topic more later. And so, in any case, we must first gain an appreciation of what it is.
Okay.
And so once we gain that, then automatically things will unfold. Hopefully that answered your first question. And the second question is, what about my family members? And so every pursuit begins with oneself. Every pursuit begins with oneself. So we start with oneself, and the person who pursues moksha will, of course, have an influence on the people around him or her. And so the family is part of the journey. And so that should not be a source of concern. And so hopefully that will, it cannot be a cause of stress. Now there is a new stress. Why are you stressed out? Oh, I am pursuing moksha. My family doesn't care about moksha. So this is the new stress in my life. Okay, all along I have a list of problems. Now I have another problem in my life. So we don't want to be in that kind of a situation. We appreciate what moksha is. We pursue it, and it is supposed to keep things calm. It is supposed to make us contented, and so we pray that that's our journey. Yeah, Haraprasad, go ahead.
Thank you.
Let me unmute yourself. Okay, go ahead, Haraprasad.
Thank you. The question is, you said the basic nature of ourselves is Ananda. Now, I presume this is coming from the Shastras, and since Shastra is a pramana, we believe, even without experiencing it, we believe what the Shastram is saying. Am I right?
Exactly. So I'm going to unmute yourself. So your question, yeah. So when somebody says something new, and we are just beginning to gain an appreciation, so at this point we don't have any choice. We don't have any choice but to accept that as true. So obviously belief has a big role to play. Even though I said earlier that the Shastram doesn't want us to believe, it wants us to know. That is said to make the point that there is something to be known here, but that there is something to be known is to be believed. See, that there is something to be known is to be believed. Only then you can pursue it. See, belief has a big role to play in our lives. We believe when we go to bed in the night, we go with the belief. What is the belief? The belief is that we are going to wake up the next day. If we don't have this belief, how we can go to sleep? Please tell me. We go, we put on the curtains, we turn on the fan, and we adjust the bed, and everything is in the right shape and color, and we are able to sleep. Obviously, the belief is, we don't vocalize the belief, but yeah, the belief is we are going to wake up. When you turn the tap, the belief is the water will flow. And some of us in India know that water need not flow. When you turn on the switch, there is a big belief that the light is going to turn on, the fan is going to turn on, and that belief can be proved wrong. So belief is very important. We'll talk more about belief another time. But yes, it is a belief, Haraprasad. Thanks for asking that question. So there are a few more questions. Panduji, if you want to ask, you can ask, but let me read this question. Moksha is I am acceptable to myself without giving consideration to myself. I mean, without giving consideration to the body, mind, sense complex with all the problems I have. But the person is tied to all the relationships, such as wife and children, etc. And when one cannot satisfy one's own problems with all family and outside relationships, how is it possible to say, I have problems, but still I am the solution? Yeah, so that is the whole topic here. Panduji, you have stated the problem statement, like they say. What is a problem statement? And for which the solution is being sought. So yes, that is the shall we say $1 million question. With all my problems, nothing seems to get solved. And every time I think one problem is solved, the sun is coming back with another challenge, another problem. And the son says, Mom, meet my girlfriend. And what? Meet my girlfriend? I'm not used to this kind of a language. And now all these things are happening. Yeah, problems after problems seem to be coming. And yet the Shastram says moksha is there despite all problems. Yes, that is Vedanta, literally. Despite all the so-called problems, I am free. This is what the Shastra is saying, and this is what we hope to appreciate and understand. So, yeah, Kedarnath ji, go ahead.
Yeah, Jayakumar ji. As just now, as we discussed about the difference between the salvation and moksha, is there any difference between moksha, mukti, and nirvana? Nirvana means the Buddhist conception of nibbana.
Yes, yes. So, mukti is the same as moksha in our context. In our context, both are derived from the same dhatu also. Much moksha, much mukti. So that's why we use the words called mukti as a synonym for moksha. So no difference there, at least for our purposes. And nirvana. So Buddhist concept of moksha is a little different than the Advaita Vedanta concept. We will have an opportunity to look at that. So a Buddhist concept of moksha is Atma is Shunya. Atma is Shunya. Non-existence or emptiness or void. I am Shunya. That is their idea of the Atma Tattvam. Whereas Advaita Vedanta says Atma is pure existence, pure consciousness. Existence is Atma. So there is a big difference between the two. And so any idea coming from those differences are also different. And so nirvana is different from moksha. And they say things like after 7 lives you get nirvana, etc. Like this, many ideas are there. And Advaita Vedanta says you are free. And the minute you discover you are free, you are free. That is why you have the idea of Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta means being free while being alive. Tell me which Christianity, which Islam offers this idea, being free while you are alive. Everybody says you will be free when you are dead. But I am asking the question, hey, when I am dead and gone, I am not even there to ask the question whether I am free or not. And you are promising something after death. How can I believe you? And so that is purely belief. Accept it, that is belief. There is nothing to know there. I have to simply believe it. So nirvana is also in the same category. Vedanta, different category. Jivan Mukta. So that is another beautiful, that is another important aspect of Advaita, because I can say, each person can say for sure whether moksha is achieved or not, because it is to be achieved while living, not after death. Okay, we will have a chance to discuss this more. Okay, Vishnuji, go ahead.
Namaste. My doubt was on you have introduced Ananda, and you have introduced the word moksha. The relation between Ananda and moksha, can you please clarify? Relation between Ananda and moksha, or the difference?
Yeah, the difference is my nature is Ananda. The nature of the being, the nature of Atma is Ananda. Moksha is a recognition of that nature. Today I don't recognize that. Today I am, I assume myself to be insecure. I assume myself to be subject to sadness, subject to sorrow, etc., etc. That is my idea of myself. And so recognition of that nature of Atma is moksha. And so here is a question. Is attaining moksha an end goal, or is it more of a process? So that Mary's question. So it is definitely an end goal. That is why it is a purushartha. It is a goal that everybody is seeking, knowingly or unknowingly seeking. So far I was unknowingly seeking, but now because of my appreciation, I may be knowingly seeking. So it is an end goal for sure. And in fact, we will talk about it again probably next class, that moksha becomes more and more relevant to my life, to one's life, as our appreciation of moksha becomes better, as our understanding becomes better. But at the same time, you can say it is a process, because understanding of any subject is a process. Mary is a teacher, she knows very well how understanding happens in the minds of people. And so here also there is understanding involved. So in that sense it is a process, but I am not going to become Ananda because I am already Ananda. So that part is not a process. Atma is not changing. Atma is not changing. So that is not a process. But my appreciation of myself, my understanding of myself, perhaps you can say that is a process. Any other question? Yeah, there is a question from Kritika. Adding to Kedarnath's question, how does samadhi relate to moksha? Is it temporary? So again, we will talk about samadhi. It's already 7:30 now here. So samadhi is another concept. Once we define what samadhi is, then we will appreciate whether samadhi is the same as moksha or not moksha. And there are 2 or 3 types of samadhis, etc. So in some context, samadhi is same as moksha. In another context, it is temporary. It is not the same as moksha. So Hem Rampal has asked, how is Ananda defined? So one way to appreciate Ananda is freedom from sorrow. Freedom from sorrow. So just like moksha is freedom from anything I don't want. Ananda can be defined in the same way. Freedom from sorrow, which we can appreciate very well. So we will have a chance to see more formal definitions of Ananda, etc. Okay, so I think there are no more questions. So we will pause with that, and then Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Yayena Margena Mahimahishaha Gobhyamanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Lokas Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyah Prithvi Sasyashalini Deshoyam Shobharahitah Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaः Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ